I must say that Stan's visit, while not being totally precipitated by the resurrection of the ex-Globe Products Elfin 400, is certainly part of that, and I'd like to thank Mark Goldsmith for bringing the car along to see it in its current livery, if that is the term. Okay, just some family history, Stan, that we unearthed recently, probably not recent, but your father, Fred, was a builder and a developer, and your brother, Fred, and I like that because none of my bloody kids have named any of theirs after me, but your brother, Fred, was a brickie, and so obviously in the building trade. Was there any ever chance that you might follow that course of employment?
No, we did a lot of cleaning up on the jobs and stuff, but it wasn't my cup of tea. So I like making noise and throwing a bit of dirt out, and you couldn't do that on the building site, but we did help a bit there. But
Now, Stan, you're retired. Are you a retired dairy farmer, mechanic, workshop owner, dyno tuner, race car driver, or fisherman? Which occupation have you retired from?
I don't really know at the moment, because I retired for a lot of years down Cape Jervis, and then came back and bought a farm and worked harder ever since. So it's been a lot of fun, enjoyed it, and now all the grandkids are all starting to smoke their tyres and go up to Colling Grove and get interested in it. It's sort of revitalised us a bit, and we've been up to see a few rides and stuff, and now Goldie's promised me a drive in the Elfin. Yeah, okay. No, it was great, but
You can't keep doing the same thing forever, can you?
not at the moment. It's starting to pull up.
Yes. Now, this is probably for Goldie's information. If you look at the honour roll out the front on the in the entrance, you'll see that Stan held the record at Colling Grove, the outright record, in the Elfin 400 in 1972, and then again broke that in between other people's record holding in the MR5 Formula 5000, is that correct, in 75?
Yeah, we used the 5,000 up there for that and for other hill climbs and around the countryside when the championship was running 5 rounds, and had to do Queensland, Mount Cotton, Ararat, Colling Grove, Mount Cotton.
Yeah. Anyway, the numbers up there, Goldie, if you want to pursue those figures. No. Well, I think you must have scared yourself driving those bloody big engine things up that hill.
No, it was great fun actually. You've got to have more power, the better it goes.
Yes. You also were an associate of Mel McEwen, who had the records in 63 and 65 in an Elfin Mono. Was that the car that you participated in latter years? Mel's old car?
No, Mel was the one that got me into those things. We went to Calder one day and Mel said, have a drive. So that's the first time I've been at Oak Wheeler, and it was great. So that's why we continued on with that. And then Malcolm Ramsey had his mono for sale, so I bought that, put an engine in it, and that's where we used to go to the Formula 2 stuff. And then Mel and I used to travel Queensland and around the countryside with the big trailer with the two of them in that, one above the other. And, yeah, Mel was quite an influence on everything there. Sadly, Mel's not around anymore. So. But yeah, he was tied up pretty well.
You also acquired Mel's engine dyno, which was on the banks of the Murray near your dairy farm. Did that keep the cows awake, or?
Yeah, the neighbours rang up one night, or one morning early as we were trying to get ready to go to Queensland, and we were dynoing these twin cams, and the noise, and across the river at the light there by Silver Sands there, they rang up and said, you know, like the noise is pretty bad. I said, well, sorry, we're trying to get ready to go. So that's all right.
Yes, well, there's an end to a means, isn't there? So a means to an end. Did you travel a lot with those cars? You went to Calder a few times, because we would go over there in the late 60s.
Yeah, Caldera Lakeside. I can't remember all the rest of that. Yeah, that Darth Bay.
Yes, okay. Now, just for your information, we have members of the Keane family here, plus ex-employees, and if Stan sort of strays from the truth at any time, I'd just like to stand up and say that's a lie. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, you just say you just forgot. We were hoping to have an ex-Colin Grove person here tonight, but obviously he couldn't make it. A little fellow called Graham Bishop, and he held the records at Colin Grove, the Winter Cup rounds 69, 70, 72, and you won that in 71. And I can remember this because I wrote it on this bit of paper from out up in the passage earlier.
I'm glad you did, because I don't remember, but I remember Graham Bishop, and he was always stuck in the mini.
Yes, that's right.
He had a very good mini, and he was very good at it.
Yes, yes, he was built for the car. Dairy farm at Taylor Bend, we've touched on that. And Mel's Dino, did you buy that or did you just relocate it for him?
He brought it out to the farm and put it in a shed where we could make a noise, and we did everything out there in the shed. So, yeah, we had some interesting times on it, and we've seen a tail shaft do a big wobble and disintegrate. Yes. And we had the big night, the big one off 88 speed car for fishers there out there.
Oh, okay.
Bringing tears to our eyes for the alcohol.
Yeah. Yes, if you ever get the opportunity to be in an engine dyno room while they're running up a motor, it's quite an experience. I never comforted a proper engine, but I had a grey motor on a dyno a few times, and it's just it's quite an extraordinary thing to witness. So where did it all start? Did it start with the mono, or did it start with the HD X2?
No, I probably started with the farm ute out at Weapons Research. Install AP5 valiants and anything that let everybody congregate out at a quarter mile of Weapons Research.
Yeah. And did you fill it back up with some bags of cement, or?
No, we weren't that advanced in those days.
No, I told you I'd stay away from the technical stuff, so we should move on. But a little later, the engine from the Elfin was transplanted into an Anglia at the early days of sports racing closed, which became sports sedans, of course, and that was a pretty quick little car, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a fun car, that was, and it left a lot of the sports cars behind, especially in the wet. We left a lot of them behind in the wet. It was always out front, but yeah, no, that was a great little thing, and we moved on from that. Then the engine out of that went in a hydroplane. And, a friend of mine from New South bought it, had a little hydro, and he was at Goolwa running it, and he had won all the classes except the big open, and he was with the open class, but one of those big things dug a hole, and he fell in that, and that was it. So, they checked the engine out, and it was still legal. He got another boat built exactly the same, but it wouldn't operate. The one that was so good on Hume Weir at 100 mile an hour would just sit there right on top of the water. The new hull he had built, no matter what he did, it just would not do anything right. So that was that one. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. That was the twin cam.
Yeah, that's the twin cam there. She was a fun little thing.
Okay, that bloke looks like your younger brother or son. Yeah. They were heady days. Keith had a story about being passed on the cool-down lap. I have a similar story. Back in it must have been the late 60s, I had gone into debt to buy a HK 327 Monaro. I was racing an FJ, so I knew I was a top driver, and we had a circuit sprint at Mallala, and Stan knocked me off in his automatic HG Premier, and I was getting ribbed about it, and I said, yeah, just how would he go if we had a race from Murray Bridge to Adelaide? And they said, well, he lives up there, he probably wouldn't go so well. So I'll let you go on that one. And who would have thought that those Anglias would have then appeared in Harry Potter stories? I mean, such an iconic car.
they're popular.
Yes, that's right. Yes. They're popular all around the world, aren't they, those things? Now, the next proper phase of your, let's call it your career, was series production with a XU1 Tirana.
Yeah.
What would you like to say about that adventure?
It didn't last long, because you go there one day and you're right on the pace, but you get there on the race day and you're out of the pace. They've just found a bit more gas or something, and so that fixed it. I said, well, that's it, I'll sell it.
Okay, so you're not using the cheating word,
No.
it was enhancement.
At Malala we had fun because you had oranges forward and the city state cars, and we were keeping in front of those. So,
Yes, there's a slide here of you in front of the famous Norm Beachy. He would have hated that. Is that his elbow on the door there? Yeah. Now the MR5 5000 had a Ford engine in it. That was a little irregular, wasn't it? Weren't they all Chevs?
they were all they were all Holden.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all Holden 5-litre ones, but yeah, I just had a Ford there and a bit of a Ford van, so we put that in there and had a lot of fun, but we didn't have the money in those days to buy all the expensive bits to make them all go like everybody else, but we had a lot of fun in it, like we were up against John Harvey in the beautiful car that Janie had there with the Repco in it. And, but yeah, we had some good races.
Yes, no, I think you could hold your head high at any events. And then much later you struck upon this idea. Bill had been doing pretty well in England, and you thought you might buy a Schreikel 5. And they weren't bad cars either, except they could have been better.
Yeah, no, they did a great job on them, and you've got to give it to them for a TAFE and what they did and what they achieved. Just a couple of little fine things that could have been done and made it 100% reliable then, and just that little things that broke a couple of times that didn't have to, but not until you sort of get into it, you fix those things up. And but yeah, no, that was a great car. I loved that little car, and the other ones too. But
That would have been nicer to drive than the big V8 pad things.
it's different, but it's still got plenty of get up and go. And with the modern technology in the suspension, it's just totally different. You put this one on the stand, the wheels still stay in the same spot. But you get the other ones, the old monos and everything, you put it up there, and the wheels all fall down. There's nothing holding them up. And it's the same as the new motor cars now. Like you put it on the hoist, and the wheels still stay in the same position. So it's just technology.
Yeah. And you did well on those cars as well. And you've got some kids and grandkids that are having a dabble in motorsport these days, or hill climbing at least.
Yeah, they're getting stuck in it. Paul is up at Quorn there. He's got, I don't know how many Clubmans now and how many Evos and how many this and that, but he comes all the way down to Collinggrove from Quorn, and he enjoys himself. And a couple of the other young fellas over there, they're starting to get into it. Travis thinks he can drive, but he's not that good. Aaron's getting better. He's pretty organised, and so one day they'll let Bill have a drive up the hill climb.
Goodness me, you don't hold back with your critiques, do you? But you sort of feel like you're being drawn into helping the kids with setup and coaching?
Well, not coaching, they don't take notice. And I like to go up the hill climb now and watch them go up the hill. And as I said, everything's changed up there. They're getting a lot more runs a day, and because one time we only had 3 runs and that was it, go home. Now they can practice all day. It's really made a difference. And there's a lot of cars up the hill climb, but there's an awful lot of touring cars, just late model 86s and stuff like that. It's just amazing to see how many shopping cars are up there now.
Yes. Well, I guess we're not fussy who we have as entrants. It's all money for the club, and maybe they'll graduate to something more adventurous later.
Yeah, it all starts off there because then they all get more and more involved in it, and then you get a wheeler or a clubman, and you go a bit faster and easier to work on than the shopping car. It's You know, you're just lucky to get up there and get home again, you're right, so.
Yes, yes.
Would you offer some advice to someone who's messing around down the back and not doing that well, like myself? Now, there are a couple of people here that have worked for you at times. Gil Cameron, what are your recollections of Gil as an apprentice? He went on and did, extended his career after working with you and getting getting a good start.
Yeah, Gil was a great lad. He was pretty organised, but he didn't sleep a lot. I think he spent a lot of time home working and then come to work and worked pretty well. And yeah, he's still doing the same, I think they tell me now.
Yeah, I don't think you were paying him enough. I think that was the problem. Is that how it works?
Yeah, no, it's great down there then. I've got a few other ones. A young fella here with glasses on, he stayed with us for a while, then he went out and did his own, built all his Butte motor cars and is still around doing it. And it's great to see Dale really involved in, once Dale's gone, well, your motor cars, you might as well learn how to do it yourself, because there's no one else around that will be able to do what he does all the way through. Engines, transmissions, axles.
So was Stan Key Motors a stopover point from Elfins to K&A? Is that how it worked? Or? Yeah.
I was going to start again for a while. And maybe, well, I'll get the kids right anyway. I don't mind it.
Yeah, okay.
Managed to keep that on the size too for the exit and stay.
Yeah, oh, these things happen, don't they? How's your leg?
Yeah, shut up, don't go into that.
Okay, right.
It's fine, it's a very good job. When I eventually got there.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's open the room up for questions, Stan.
Yeah.
And we don't want doing, degrees of advance and, split seconds and that stuff. Just a general question or two. What emotions does the 400 evoke when you look at that? Does it stir up the...
Yeah, it's in better condition than when I bought it. But we had a lot of fun in that. It was a great car. I really enjoyed it. And there's some great racing in it too, especially at Malvern.
Yeah, yes, a car with a lot of history. And I think there's a book coming, Goldie, is that correct?
Yeah, we're getting all the information together, thanks to Stan and other previous owners. So
And you're taking deposits tonight, is that right?
no,
Expressions of interest?
I think the cost is over 100, yeah.
Right, okay. Now, down the front, well, Frosty at the back. Frosty, not too technical, all right?
No, it's all right. Stan, of all the cars you've driven and all the races you've competed in and hill climbs you did, was one that really stood out, and also what car probably in the history stood out as the best that you achieved?
Pretty hard one, but we had a lot of fun in all of them. They were all great, and as they stepped up through the line, and like the 5000 was good, and up the hill climbs, at the track as well.
What about a single race that you probably achieved better than you thought you were going to achieve? Knocked off some greats also, so to speak.
Oh, the best one was at Mallar with Howie Sangster when they came over with the Lola to clean up, but it didn't happen.
What car was that in?
That was in the Elfin 400. Yeah.
And you also kept Phil Moore and Howard Michelle at bay with their new 360 drive. I just saw an article recently in Racing Car News about Stan, you were giving him a bit of what Ford's taking trial on Point Albert.
Yeah, no, that was a good car. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Still scares the hell out of it.
You shouldn't do.
I do notice that the small modification was a 2-foot wing you had out the back. But I don't, maybe that's what you're doing.
No, I didn't have a wing on it.
But didn't you have a
Little bit of, I had a 6-inch bit of aluminium
All right.
flapper on.
Yeah.
So that was the stability point down straight at Mallar, because without that, was there.
Yeah,
With that on
it's
it, you could
very
just go
stable.
around there full stick. Yeah. But then when, no, that was the Burrell that Burching had, and he put this aeroplane wing on the top of it.
Right, okay, that was the Burrell Ford.
The Burrell Ford, yeah. Well, that transpired from the Elfin MR5 because.
Okay, yep. Sir?
I was just going to ask about the Aero, because if you look at some of the early cars, don't want to be too disrespectful, but some of them look a little bit agricultural, the aerodynamics on the cars. So there must have been a development of the cars once you got them.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of development with wings over a period there.
Oh, enormous amount of development on those things, and you know, with all the back wings and the little bits stuck on to do this and to do that, and drag and stuff like that. It was just completely different. Like, we're all agricultural in those days, all guessing at things, a lot of it. And now, with all the technology that came out from overseas and the car that landed here with the routes and the Reynards and everything else that brought them into the Formula Holden range, they were great, you know, just the whole thing was better. The Formula Holden was the best formula that's been around, and somebody messed it up. And because the engine, you could run the whole season without changing anything on it. The brakes were good, suspension, everything was fantastic. As I said, it was the best car, the best formula out the whole lot.
What I think is quite special about people like you and that era is that you wouldn't have had access to the wind tunnels and stuff that they had overseas. And I think it takes a lot of skill in drivers to be able to go out and, as you said, going around Malala and having the car do this and just working out that if you just put 6 inches on the back, it stabilises everything.
That's right, but the wind tunnel we used was a bit of oil on the guards and a bit of stuff hanging on there to see where, when.
And you opened the front back doors of the workshop down there on South Road. You had the wind tunnel.
Wind tunnel there.
Yeah. Gil, you've got...
Just know about the ban, wind tunnel.
Is that right? Yeah.
Formula One that cost that much money, they put their hands up and said, "Can you stop it?"
Bit of sanity there.
Formula One, I don't think so.
No.
That's nearly everybody G3 stop.
Yeah.
Man, snakes.
They are. Gil.
What he's not going to say.
Yes, this is what we're looking for, Gil.
Yeah, what Stan's not going to say is what you've got to realise that everything he did with all his cars, he did with his own hands. He made his own exhaust pipes by hand. He's too modest to say this, but he did this because I was there. We used Holden water pump on the thing, and we Holden V8 water pump, and he cast that piece of aluminium to bolt it, which I thought was bloody amazing. He did all that himself. Well, we did it between us.
Yeah, no,
I stood and watched. Yes, but truly,
Yeah, helped a lot.
he did everything himself, and he could. A couple of things about him, and this is about Stan King, no one else. Of all the racing car drivers I've worked with, and I've worked with a few, I've never come across someone with reflexes like him. Green light come on, he was gone. McCormick used to think he was the best, and Stan could beat him, you know. And we didn't have the power he had. Nah, that's why we beat you, though. End of the straight might have been a bit different with the poor engine, but you know, truly, he just undersells himself. You know, he really is, you know, something very special. He could feel things that, you know, no one could even see. Like I said, you know, the wing wasn't sophisticated. It was just a barge board on the back, but it worked, and everything he did was the same. You know, Stan, it's been an honour. You know, he truly has. You know.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
So what you're saying, he could drive a bit and he didn't mind working?
He could drive a huge amount,
Yeah.
and he would work. You know, he would work. There was no prima donna then. I worked with some prima donnas. This guy wasn't a prima donna. He's got the car, did the job, got out of the car, and then fixed the job. Fantastic, Stan. Good job. Really good.
Great accolade. Ken Messenger.
Made 73, 74, that run you did up Covent Grove. The last run of the time. You remember, that was the one to take it. You took it. That was sensation. It inspired me. Now, 94, we did some stuff together. You're passionate about hill climbing, you're passionate about motorsport, you're passionate about the Sporting Car Club. The Sporting Car Club is big with regard to Colin Grove Hill Climb. So what you and I were doing for that one, you led me your wife for about 3 months. Faye, lovely to see you, my dear. So, what we were doing, that was massive, that event, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a massive event.
That was
And
massive.
everybody put in a lot, especially you, Kenny, when you took time off to...
It's not about me, but I mean, it's what we did there with regard to the sporting car club and the significance of hill climbing. I want you to talk about that.
Yeah, well, I said to Graham the other day, if he could dig the film out of the archives there of that hill climb with the 4 formula holes there, Raymond Hill, and heaps of other things, all competitive. We had tents up for the internationals, flags up everywhere. We had organised hot air balloon, but it didn't happen. And everything was there, you know. And we'd sold all the positions on the hill, but different prices, so the sponsors could have so much for that.
$10,000 prize money.
Yeah, that shook things up a bit. We had insurance on it, but the old fellas in the car club nearly fell over when we put 10 grand up to break the record. And so that was a bit of a heart stopper for some of them.
That's it, I want you to understand.
Yeah, I think that's.
Now, the old fathers of today will be the old blokes of tomorrow that caused the trouble, you know, so.
You know, that was a great event, and I never had one ever since up there, but you know, all the things we had to go through with that young lady from Cairns to even let people ride in another car up the hill at dinner times, and yeah, we had a lot of information to get things organised, which we did, and it was great. Oh, Bob Angus let us get in the paddock over there, and Faye and I went up one day prior to that, had lunch with Bob and his wife, and took up some crayfish that we just pulled out the Cape down there, and had a lovely lunch. And yeah, Bob, great bloke.
Yeah, great club member. And to be fair, there are people working within the club to achieve the same goals, you know, as we speak, so to speak.
Yeah, no, that's it too. But no, the enthusiasm of the hill climb nowadays is great to go up there and see everybody getting into it, and the way they've got it now with the bitumen in the pits and everybody's doing everything. It's not dusty. It's in a return road. The whole lot's really come up in the and it's a big thing for the club too.
Oh yes, it's a big part of the sporting car club, Colin Grove, and we recognise the contribution of Ray Pank in his financial support for helping us own that place.
Yeah, no, it was great there, but and you know, there's not too many other money earners. Like you haven't got Mount Lowe anymore, have you, to get anything off?
Yeah, things have changed since Clem's gone, but competition still makes a profit.
We went in the State Bank rally when it was at 80-something, and our good friend Parky, who's not here tonight, he got stuck in Victoria and can't make it, but he organised the fair bit of the rally, and he put Bill and I behind him in the rally. Every time the old Ford broke down, we'd stop and fix it. Yeah, that was a great trip too.
Yes, he's not just an entrepreneur, Tony Parkinson, is he? He's a
Great bloke,
all-round guy.
and pretty well involved in motorsport.
Well, Stan, thank you very much for making the time to come and visit us. This is possibly just the start of something big for Stan and I. We're going to do the footy clubs, and no, it's been great to reacquaint with you as we've done over the last week, and thanks for everyone for coming along, and Goldie again for bringing the car. Thank you, Stan.
Yeah, no, it's been great.
No, that's okay. I'll go anywhere for a cup of coffee and a homemade fruitcake. Yeah. Thanks, bud.